Hi everyone, Rimon here. So I compile verses from the Bible and I'm going to give my own exegetes on what these verses mean. Is marriage in Christianity. The title of this video is called Marriage in Christianity, and we're going to start off with Matthew 19 verses 1 to 5. Now it came to pass when Jesus had finished these sayings that he departed from Galilee and came to a region of Judea beyond the Jordan. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came to him, testing him, and saying to him, Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any cause? And he answered and said to them, Have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, that the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore what God has joined together, let not man separate. Matthew 19, 1 to 5. Here we read that Jesus lays down the ground foundation of a biblical marriage, that it is a covenant between one man and one woman, that is a Christian believing man and woman. Jesus is quoting Genesis 2, 21 to 24. Now we're going to go to St. Paul. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. This is singular, not plural. Plural. And let each woman have her own husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Paul here is writing to the Christians in Corinth, saying that Paul is writing to the Christians. Sorry about this, folks. Paul here is writing to the Christians at Corinth, saying because of so much fornication that each man should have his own wife, and a woman should have her own husband. Also, that they should satisfy each other and not deprive each other of their sexual needs within the marriage. That comes from 1 Corinthians 7:1-4. Marriage is honorable amongst all, and bed undefiled, but fornicators and adulterers God will judge. Hebrews 13:4. In Deuteronomy 17:17, a king of Israel or an Israelite king is commanded to have only one wife for himself. So Solomon definitely sinned, so did King David, because they have multiple wives. This is a true saying: if a man desires the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. A bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, and of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, sober-minded, of good behavior, hospitable, able to teach, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy for money, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not covetous, one who rules his own house well, having his children in submission with all reverence. For if a man does not know how to rule his own house, how will he take care of the church of God? Not a novice, I don't know what that says, least being puffed up with pride, he falls into the same condemnation as the devil. Moreover, he must have a good testimony amongst those who are outside. So, the world, basically, lest he fall into reproach and snares of the devil. Okay, so what this is saying is that Sam is disqualified here for being a teacher according to this passage. So is Pastor Anderson, and likewise, deacons must be reverent, not double-minded, not given to much wine, not greedy for money, holding the mysteries of the faith with a pure conscience, but let those also first be tested, then let them serve as deacons, being found blameless. Likewise, their wives must be reverent, not slanderers, temperate, faithful in all things. Okay, this is the part I want to get to. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife. So even deacons are in the Bible are to be husbands of one wife. They are to set an example to the rest of the believers who are probably not called into being a bishop or a deacon by God. Ruling their children and their own house well. For those who serve well as a deacon obtain themselves a good standing and a great boldness in faith which is in Christ Jesus. 1 Timothy 3:1-13. We see if a Christian man wants to be a bishop or a deacon, that they must be faithful to their wives. By the way, a Christian man, one who wants to be a deacon, must be faithful to his wife. 1. A vision is to set a good example for other Christian men, and one of those examples is to have one wife. So Christian men must be faithful to their wives and not have multiple marriages with other women. And we can see this in the Old Testament also. But this is not about deacons or bishops. This is about random advice. This is advice given to father to his son, that he should remain happy with the wife of his youth. Drink water out of your own cistern, and running water out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be diverse abroad, and rivers of water in the street. Let them be thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountains be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Notice it's singular and not plural. Let her be as a loving hen and a pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thy at all time, and be thou ravished away always with her love. And why willeth thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? So we see here a father giving advice to his son, and this can be applied to anyone who's a Christian, to remain satisfied with his Christian wife, to be faithful and satisfied with her, and not go after other women. Another such example can be found in Malachi 2:13-15. Another thing you do, you flood the Lord's altar with tears. You weep and wail because he no longer looks with favor on your offsprings or accepts offerings. Let me read that again. Another thing you do, you flood the Lord's altar with tears and weep and wail because he no longer looks with favor on your offerings or accepts with pleasure from your hands. You ask, why is it? Because the Lord, why? It is because, you ask why? It is because the Lord is the witness between you and the wife of your youth. You have been unfaithful to her, though she is your partner, the wife of your marriage covenant. Has not the one God made you? You belong to him in spirit and body and spirit. Has not the one God made you? You belong to him in body and spirit. And what does the one God seek? Godly offsprings. So be on your guard and do not be unfaithful to the wife of your youth. So God here is condemning a polygynous, that is a man having more than one wife. So Christianity is so marriage in Christianity is between one man and one woman, because it is a sacred covenant between one man and one woman, and not multiple women with one man. So the Bible strictly prohibits polygamy. Thank you all. That's all I wanted to say. Peace. And I know I'm not Christian, but this was just something that I wanted to get out for a long time. That's all I wanted to do in this video.